the leading exporter of yam in the world, despite the fact that it is the largest second producer after Nigeria. This week on The Ghanaian Farmer, we're all the way in the Volta region to talk about yam cultivation and its export potential here in Ghana. My name is Enyunam and this is The Ghanaian Farmer. Get interactive and share your comment and your views with us across the globe, wherever it is you're watching us. Remember to share and comment. I'm going for a quick breather. When I come back, the farmer will be joining me to tell us more about the varieties of yam, the countries that Ghana export yam to, and whatever systematic approach that you can also follow to become a yam producer. I'll be right back after this. Stay tuned. So thanks for joining me on The Ghanaian Farmer. My name is Enyunam. If you just tune in, you're watching The Ghanaian Farmer all the way from Tajebu in the Volta region. And we found ourselves in the biggest commercial farm here in Ghana. Today, we're going to teach you about yam cultivation or how to plant yam. What are you supposed to put in place to get yourself prepared and the field ready for planting. So standing next to me is the operations manager here at Marvelous, and his name is Razak. Razak, thanks for joining me once again. Yeah, it's been a long time. Yeah. We are seeing ourselves this year, right? So happy New Year, or happy Easter for you, happy Salah, everything. So today we are going to talk or teach our viewers about yam planting or yam cultivation. First of all, yam is a tuber. Is that correct?
Yes, please.
Okay, so if I am going into yam farming, which area or which region in Ghana should I be looking for my land?
Okay, so yam actually do not have a specific geographical location or agroecological zone in Ghana that does well.
Okay.
Just like most crops, if the soil type is conducive for its growth, it can grow anywhere in Ghana.
Okay.
But then what comes into mind is your target market. What is the preferred variety? Because we have yam, but all yams are not the same.
Okay.
We know we have water yam. We know we have white yam. We know we have puna. So when you know your market, then that is the best way to determine which variety
you'll be cultivating. Okay. Now talking about a soil type, then what soil is good for planting yam?
So yam prefer a loamy soil. Ideally prefers a loamy soil. But when you get a sandy loamy soil as well, yam can do well as on those types of soil.
Okay. Just like other commodities, take me through the basic process that I need to take my land through to get it ready for what we are seeing your people do.
Okay, so if my intention is to cultivate yam, the first thing I do is I have to do my land preparation. So my land preparation, yam land preparation differs from almost every crop because yam is a root crop or root tuber crop. So we need to do mounds.
Okay.
And in doing the mounds shouldn't be very small like you're going to do tomatoes.
Okay.
So because it's a root tuber crop, it needs
a bigger
space for it to develop well,
to
give you what you want.
Right.
So the first point of call is your land preparation. And your land preparation, you could use a tractor to plow before you do your mounds in order to make work easier.
Right.
If not, you could also go through the yam mounds without using the tractor.
Okay.
So as we are witnessing on this side, you could see we have weeds on the mounds.
Yes.
So that is solely because mounds were done for
to the planting. Okay.
And as it is like this, we deliberately allowed this to happen because it's a way of managing your weeds.
Okay.
Now we allow the weeds to come. We come in with glyphosate. So we spray with the glyphosate, then the weeds goes off.
Okay.
So by the time the weeds sprout again, our yam would have sprout and then established. So they will not be able to cause much disturbance
to
them at that early stage.
Okay.
As compared to if we are just after preparing our mounds, we plant. By now, this means the weeds would have been competing with them at this moment.
Right.
So that is the reason why we are seeing these grasses on
on top of the mounds. Okay.
It is deliberate.
Okay.
And we do that as an approach to
Right.
weed management.
Okay.
You know, we always adopt integrated weed management approaches. Not only pest management,
Okay.
but we also adopt integrated weed control.
Okay. Now, talking about the mounds, if I am putting together, being a new farmer, what should be the height and what should be the size of it?
So ideally, you look out for the water holding capacity or the nature of how water is retained on your land or your soil first. So if I have a soil that retains a lot of water, so that is telling me that I am potentially having a waterlogging situation.
Okay.
And when the yam tuber is developing and it gets soaked into water, it will either rot or it will be deformed. So sometimes you go into the market and you see yams with a lot of fingers.
Yes.
So those are some of the things that leads to that.
Deformity.
Yes, the deformity. So when you know the characteristics of your soil like that, that is the first thing to tell you that, okay, I need my ridges to be bigger and be higher.
Okay.
So when it is high and bigger, it is you are able to give it enough space. Okay. And the water will just run through the furrows and allow your ridge for your yam to thrive well.
Okay. All right. So after the plowing and then the creating of the mounds, what then do I do to get the planting material ready and bring it to the field?
So that takes us to planting material or yam set preparation. Yes. We have various sizes of tubers that we can use as yam sets. Okay. So if your yam sets are the mini sets or are the plantable size, are not as big as what I'm having. Okay. So you could plant it whole. But then if my planting material is big as I am holding, I am not going to waste this. The whole and bury this whole thing in the mouth. No, I am wasting. Okay. It's better I even use it to go and do fufu than just go up to go and plant. So we cut them into sets. Okay. We cut them into sets. Like this would be like 400, 500 grams. Okay. 200 to 500 grams. Right. So you cut the yam set in that sizes. Okay, so this instead of burying this whole one, so you cut this into two. We could also even cut this into three. Okay. Depending of the market we are targeting. Okay. If my target is to produce mini sets, I can divide this into 5 or 6. Okay. But here I am targeting to produce tubers for the market. So I need to cut this into 2. Okay. So the bigger the planting material is, it gives you an indication of what the outcome is going to be. Okay. But then if you bury this whole distance, it's just food you are wasting. Okay. And you are denying yourself of getting more. This can give us two. You can use this to
two sets.
Two mounts. Okay. But if you rather bury it on one, you would see you are denying yourself what? A mount.
It means you use more planting material
to cover a unit area.
Okay. Okay. Now, my next question would be, before you come to the field, do I wait to plant after rain, or I can plant before the rain comes?
Okay, so before the rain even comes, if I have my yam sets like this, yes, I could process them into the sets. Okay. Before I even get into the field. Yes. So if I mean to cut them into the sets, and there is going to be a waiting period before I plant, then when I cut them, I use fungicide to treat this, so that pathogens don't infest them for them to decay before you take them to the site. Okay. Locally, we could also use ash. Okay. Wood ash. Yeah, wood ash. Okay. You can just use wood ash, and then you mix it with water, make it a bit slurry. Then you can just spread on them, and that's a way of treating the planting. So that is if there's going to be a waiting period between the processing and then the planting. If there's not going to be a waiting period, as we have here, it rained, and our materials are ready.
Already.
So we pick our tubers onto the field, we cut them into the sets, and we are ready to go.
Okay.
So in that way, you don't need to do the treatment.
Oh, okay.
Because the soil is already moist,
Ready.
conducive for it to sprout.
Okay. What time of the day is recommended for me to start planting? Is it in the afternoon, morning, or evening?
Okay. So yam being a tuber,
yes,
you plant and it can wait for the conducive environment for it to sprout. So some areas we plant them during the dry season.
Okay.
And when we plant it during the dry season, we would then have to mulch. If you don't mulch it, the heat will cook it. So by the time it
down
rains,
there,
it is already rotten because the soil is going to be very
hot,
and that will get
affected.
Rot.
Okay.
So if you are planting during rainy season,
yeah,
you might. It's that way. It's an optional. It's an option. Either you do the mulching or not. But the moment it starts raining, you plant them. You don't need to mulch.
It's good to go.
So, and in terms of having time of day to plant, yam really don't have time of day to plant. You could plant in the morning, you could plant in the afternoon, you could plant in the
evening.
Yeah, in the evening.
Okay.
Because it is not a stem cutting.
Okay.
So a stem cuttings that we usually, or as nurseries, you are transplanting that we usually recommend
certain time of the day. Okay.
But this is a root.
All weather.
All weather it goes.
Okay, so what time of the year do you recommend also that I plant my yam to meet market demand?
Okay, so this takes us to the market dynamics. Now, in Ghana, we all know the times of the year that almost every agricultural produce becomes very common in the market.
Yeah.
So when you also have your produce available in that time, what means is that you fetch lower market.
Yes.
So by then it left onto you, the farmer. Okay, we see during September, October, we always have a lot of yams in the
system.
So if I also harvest my yam during that time, I will not be able to fetch the premium price. So what do I need to do? I know the gestation period of my yam. So say it is 6 months. So if it is 6 months, when will I plant it to harvest it in the off season of yam? Bearing in mind that it needs water.
Okay.
And it has the critical period of its growing stage that it needs water. At certain stages, it needs water. It doesn't care. At certain stages, it needs water. So you would have to look at these dynamics and be able to schedule your planting based on your variety. We have some that are short varieties. We have some that are medium varieties.
Yeah.
We have some that are long varieties.
Yeah.
So if I have a medium variety, which I can harvest in 6 months, then, and we know in Ghana, September, October, we have a lot of yam.
Exactly.
So, but we have less in the market in December,
yeah.
January,
February, March.
So how do I plan to harvest and meet this
around that time? Okay.
And we also know that yam is also a semi-perishable commodity. It is not a perishable commodity.
No.
We can store
it. Takes a bit of time.
We can store it with a good storage facility. You can also store yam to meet that market window.
So these
are the things that we...
This boils down to calculation as a farmer. Yes. You need to know these dynamics like he's saying. So the variety we have here today is what variety?
So this variety we have is white yam.
The white yam.
The white yam.
And you mentioned that there are 3. There is the water, the pona, and then the white yam. Yes. Okay, so how long does this one take to mature?
So this takes 7-8 months.
7-8 months.
Yes.
Then it's fully mature.
Yes.
Okay.
But when you go to puna, puna, we also have different varieties of puna.
Okay.
Some of them are 5 months, some of them 7 months, some of them can even take 9 months. So if you go to north, mostly they have the one that is like 5 months.
Okay.
And that 5 months, that gets into the market very quick. And that is where
they make the money.
Makes a lot of money.
Okay, okay.
Those variety in the market that time, you can go and get smaller tubers. A tuber small like this, 3 of them, and they are selling it at 100 cedis plus.
Okay, so among these 3, the white, the pona, and then the water, which one do customers prefer the most?
So when it comes to customer preference, it is a tricky area. Now, we all have our individual preferences.
Yeah.
I might need fufu from my yam.
Okay.
You may need ampesi from your yam. I may also need my yam for a different
Purpose.
purpose. For example, I may need my yam to process starch. So if I need my yam to process starch, the variety I'm looking for will be different from
definitely what I
want. So we
want.
farmers, we always identify our market first.
Okay.
For us at Maflex, that's what we do. We don't just cultivate for the sake of cultivation, or just for the sake we have land and we are cultivating. So we know the market preference. So and our market prefer the white yam.
Okay.
Because we are exporting.
Right.
And the white yam also has other advantages as compared to
the others.
Puna,
Okay.
or the others.
Okay.
This have a longer shelf life as compared to Puna.
Ah.
So I harvest white yam today and I harvest Puna today. But your Puna will go bad and I'll still have my white yam.
Oh.
So as I am an exporter,
Uh-huh.
and it takes no less than 21 days even to get to Europe. So if I have white yam, you have Puna. So you ship your Puna. By the time it gets to your market,
it will start rotting.
I take my thing and I have my 100%. Who smiles at the end of the day?
You are the one. And I will be laughing at the other side of my mouth.
So those are the things that determine.
That is it. That is it. As a farmer, you see, I always say that when I come to Maflis, the education I get is very, very huge. You see, don't follow the crowd, because maybe you visit Maflis and they are planting yam, so you to run and wait. He says even the consumer preference is different. And then when you know the market, are you targeting the Ghanaian or the outside market? Is it for export or just the domestic sale? You have to calculate all these things and know what works for you. My name is Anyanam and this is still the Ghanaian Farmer. I'm chit-chatting with the operations manager here at Maflis, and today we are enlightening you about yam cultivation, how to go about it. I'm going for a quick breather. I'll be right back after this. So thanks for staying in. This is the Ghanaian Farmer and my name is Anyonam. It's all about yam cultivation here in the Volta region, and it says yam has no restrictions so long as you get the kind of soil that it needs to grow, then you're good to go. So I'm going to come back to you. Now, when you plant yam, are there any form of pest or disease that attack it, and what are the maintenance culture I need to keep doing before the 7-8 month for my yam to develop fully for harvest?
Okay, so just like any other crop, yam also have a management system, a crop management system.
Yeah.
So the only thing we don't do is we don't apply fertilizer to yam.
Okay.
But for pests, the moment pests attack your crop, you would certainly control pests.
Okay.
And diseases as well. So yam also have pest management practices and disease control measures. Because if you don't, at the end of the day, like we said earlier, you'll be laughing at the wrong side of your mouth. Because some of the diseases, you would not get them at the early stage. You get it later when you are harvesting and all your tubers are rotten. When your tuber is rotten, it's your money that is just
wasting.
Like so we need to also control pests. Weed management is also very important.
Okay.
Because yam is such a crop that need the presence of the farmer in the field.
Okay.
Aside even weeding, controlling pests and diseases, yam needs your presence on the field.
Okay.
So the moment you are available on the farm, it is a motivation for it. You know, they also communicate.
Okay.
And they have senses.
Right.
They have senses, just like it's just that they can't talk the way we talk.
Yeah.
But they also experience, they have feelings like we do. So those are some of the things that they also want.
Okay.
So when you plant your yam, you just don't say, oh, because it is yam, let me just forget it. No, you forget it, it will forget you.
Okay.
You have to weed, you have to control pests, you have to control diseases.
Okay.
And we have both fungal, bacterial, and viral infestations.
Okay. Okay. Approximately how many acres of yam field are we planting now?
So here we have close to 6 acres of yam we are planting.
Okay.
At the moment.
Okay.
But that is others we are still continuing with.
Okay. It's going all the way down there.
All the way down.
All right, but let's use just 1 acre. If I want to start with just 1 acre, how many of these planting materials will I need averagely?
So That takes us to mathematics.
Yes.
So if you look at on the field we are here.
Yeah.
Now you look at the interval between the each one.
Yeah, the
So
mouths.
we'll be looking at roughly 1 by 1 meter. So if it is 1 by 1 meter and you have an acre of 4,000 meters square. So 1 meter square, that means you would need 4,000
of this mini set.
Of this mini set.
Okay.
So if I have sets like this,
yes,
and I see this one, I can divide this one into
two.
On average, I get 2.
Okay.
So if I get 2,000 sets, I should be able to cover an acre.
My 4,000.
So because I'll cut them into mini sets and then be able to.
Okay.
Yes, please.
All right. That makes sense. Now, okay. So 2,000 you cut into two, and then you get your 4,000 pieces, and then you plant. Okay. Presently, are you able to tell how much plowing is going for an acre of land?
For yam?
Yes.
Well, it depends. Geographical locations and the cost is different.
Okay.
In some places, they do a mound and they take like 70 pesos for one.
Oh, okay.
Some places they take like 1 cedis. Some places they take 50 pesos. So if you are fortunate to locate yourself somewhere that
the price is good. Okay. Then you are good to go. How many times do I harvest my yam?
Oh, you can harvest yam twice.
Twice?
Yes.
Okay. At what stage and at what stage?
So if we are harvesting, if we want to do milking, that's another terminology. The young people knows it.
Okay.
So the terminology, or let me just say, you harvest fresh yam.
Okay.
And not dry yam.
Right.
So let me just put it simple that way.
Okay.
So the fresh yam is when you harvest it during the middle of the season. And you allow them to regrow. Then you can get your yam sets. So that is how we harvest
yam. Twice.
And other two, you harvest it once. So you harvest it once when you want the dry for your market.
Okay.
Yes, so that is, you could either harvest twice or once.
Okay. I know you use bamboo at a certain stage of the growth in the yam. What stage, in which month do I introduce the bamboo to direct the...
All right, so introducing bamboo, that is what we call, agronomical, we call staking.
Okay.
So you are staking the plant. So like you are providing a support to the vine.
Exactly.
You know, they are creeping plants.
Yes.
So you need to provide them that. And it does not really have a time. As far as you see your yams sprouting and they are lodging, you need to. You don't even need to allow them to start lodging before you do the staking.
Okay.
But then staking is also optional depending on the variety. There are certain varieties you stake them, they'll do okay. You don't stake them, they still
do okay.
Yes. So those staking is a good agronomic practice.
Okay.
When you stake, it improves the yield.
Okay. So even if I decide not to stake,
even if
my yam will
still do. But you get better outcome when you do the staking as compared to when you don't stake.
I see. Okay. Now every season, if I want to plant, do I have to go and buy new yam and carts, or I'll get my planting material from the yam I've harvested? Which is which?
So yam is like our open pollinated varieties. Let me just say maize or cassava. So if I plant my maize or my cassava and it is not a hybrid, that is what most of our farmers do. We select the good crops and store them for the subsequent production. So yam too, you adopt the same thing.
Yeah.
So after you harvested your yam, depending on your market requirement, so some will qualify, some would not qualify. The ones that will not qualify could be based on size. If it is based on sizes, you could use them as your planting material. But if it is based on decay, that one you cannot use it. It is rotten, you cannot use it. But if it is based on size, you store those ones and use for your subsequent cultivation. It is not necessary that you would always buy planting material. That way you are increasing your cost of production.
Okay.
Then the other way we can do it, like we say we can harvest the milking, the fresh one. When you harvest at that stage, what you get at the end of the year becomes yam set.
Okay.
So you could also, even if your target is the export market or your target is to harvest once, but you could demarcate a portion of your land to milk. Then they will give you the yam sets
Okay.
for your continuous production.
Okay. All right.
Instead of you going to buy yam
Yeah.
sets, you know, prices keep on flying.
Yeah.
So if you
need to be strategic so you can have your planting material always.
at
But
a cheaper cost.
for this many years of, you know, cultivating yam, because when it comes to the field, I know you are a master there. Is yam farming very expensive and is it profitable?
So agriculture, yam, just like any other cultivation in agriculture,
yes,
is very risky.
Okay.
I'll not run away from it. But then when you put in the right measures, you would look at it as the cheapest investment.
Okay. That is if you put in the right
measures.
Okay.
Because the right measures, like we mentioned, the management. If I cultivate my 1 acre of yam, number one, I have a good germination rate. Each plant has the potential it can give us. So if from my planting, I realize some of the sets did not sprout, I need to go over and see, are they rotten or they are just delaying? So if they are rotten, I need to replace. If I don't replace, let's say each yam should give us 3 kilos of a tuber wheat. Now I have 4,000 yams plants on the acre, and each of them is giving me 3 kilos. What am I getting? So I'm getting 3 times 4,000. So I'm getting 120,000 kilos.
Exactly.
No, if I'm getting 120,000 kilos, and I have already recorded some mounds are empty, there are no yams there, so I am losing 3 kilos
out of
what I could
the
have
projected
gotten.
tons.
So assuming I have lost 5%, so I am losing 5% of my investment.
Okay.
Bear in mind that you've already bought the yam set to plant there.
Yeah.
You've already paid for the yam mound.
Yes.
Even if there is no yam on this mound, but during weeding, we will still have to weed the whole place.
Yes.
So you are still using the same amount of money that you would have invested on when you have a good plant population. It's going to be the same as when you have a bad population. But then at the end of the day, you would get less.
Okay. I see. So that's it. Very dry, well ventilated place.
Yes.
That's where you're not supposed to keep it.
Yes.
Okay. Razak, I know there's a lot for us to explore. We'll come back next week and continue. But we are wrapping up today on yam cultivation. What would be that single message you want to leave to a potential yam farmer who have watched your interview and is inspired to go into yam cultivation?
Okay. So, quick thing. Yam cultivation is one of the lucrative agribusiness ventures you can go in. Like I mentioned earlier, the management cost of yam is less than management cost of several vegetables.
Yeah.
Here, we are not going to apply fertilizer. So that fertilizer cost is already off. As compared to I go to do okra or I go to do tomatoes, the intensity of pest control is increasing your cost of production. But then we also look at tomatoes can easily fail you.
Yeah.
Tomatoes can easily fail you. So yam is a very good industry. And now the export market for yam is growing. And I'm not promoting GEPA here, but GEPA is also doing its
good work.
Yes, to push the yam market
out there.
Okay. So it is an upcoming area that
farmers should be watching out for. Okay. All right. So that was a very intense, very insightful 30 minutes with Razak. He is always my go-to man when I'm talking about field work. And today, he's been very phenomenal, enlightening us about yam cultivation. My name is Enyinam, and this has been the Ghanaian farmer, telling you why you should consider yam cultivation, but of course, with the right and good practices put in place. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you another time from Mathless Trust Ghana Limited. It's always fulfilling to come here. Thank you very much,
thank you,
sir, for your time. Okay, bye-bye.